The series starts with a tense scene where Clarence, a low-level criminal, being interrogated by Iggy, a henchman of the crime syndicate. There's a suspicion of a mole within their ranks. Despite intense questioning, Clarence doesn't confess. Iggy left and Clarence saw the Penguin silhouette, indicating he's the boss behind the interrogation. The scene shifts to gangsters in zoot suits, moving contraband in a warehouse. Suddenly, the lights go out, and Batman strikes, taking down the criminals amidst smoke and shadows. As he was doing so, the warehouse explodes as Batman escapes. Batman and Alfred are discussing the incident. This explosion is the third incident linked to mob boss Rupert Thorne. Alfred told him the police ruled the first accident as a gas leak, the second as electrical fire. Batman and Alfred suspect a gang war is imminent due to the series of warehouse explosions. Barbara Gordon, now depicted as a defense attorney, is in a court working to clear a client accused of smuggling. After the trial, Harvey Dent, the new district attorney. Barbara is not impressed by his cocky attitude. He started talking about his campaign for mayor, but she told him she is not going to vote for him. He then proposed a coin flip, and if she wins, he will ask for 20 years. If not, he is going to ask for the electric chair. Barbara, angered by this, left his standing. That night, Batman caught a man and held him upside down to interrogate him. He asked who was covering up the incidents, and the man revealed it was the Penguin. In a police fundraiser on the Iceberg Lounge yacht, Penguin, now known as Oswald Cobblepot, hosts the event. Key characters like Commissioner Gordon, detectives Harvey Bullock and Arnold Flass, and gangster Rupert Thorne make appearances. Barbara is also present with her father. She complained about being there. As she was talking with her father, Harvey showed up prompting her to leave. Bruce Wayne arrives late. Harvey approached him and took him inside. Meanwhile, Penguin is welcoming Rupert. She asked about the explosion. He told her no real damage was done because he got a tip from someone. Bruce managed to sneak and he discovers contraband under the deck but is forced to swim for an impromptu escape when he hears Penguin and others outside the door. Bruce reemerges, soaking wet, humoring the audience. Penguin interrogated her kids to know who had told Rupert. Erin tried to tell her that he is not, but she ended up throwing him to the water in a box. Ronnie called Rupert and told him his mother is onto them, but Rupert told him it is none of his business and hung up. Meanwhile, Penguin figured she killed the wrong son. Ronnie begged Barbara to take him to her father because he is the only one he can trust not to be corrupted. They got into the car, and as she was driving, they were attacked. Barbara finds herself in a dangerous gun chase through Gotham's streets. Just as she's cornered, Batman intervenes with the Batmobile and kills the men and drives away. Ronnie told them everything in the station. A police officer heard this and reported to Penguin. Later, as Penguin and her men are preparing for an attack in the station, Batman arrives and attacks. Him and Penguin got into a physical altercation. During the fight, Penguin managed to fire the missile, but everyone in the station had been evacuated. As Batman and Alfred are talking, they realize by taking down Penguin, Batman had given Rupert a chance to expand. Late at night, a movie star, Yvonne Francis, was walking to her house when someone came from behind and kidnapped her. The scene shifts to Detective Montoya interrogating Bruce. He was being interrogated because he was the last person to see Yvonne. He attempted to bribe her, but she didn't flinch. Suddenly, Lucius Fox, Bruce's lawyer, interrupted the interrogation. He then told Montoya she can't keep him anymore and get him out. On the drive home, Bruce told Alfred that they should collaborate with Montoya to find Yvonne. He told him he tried to corrupt her, but she refused to, prompting him to believe that she is loyal. Montoya went to talk to Basil Carlo, hoping to find something that could help with the investigation. However, he had no useful information. He mentioned that Yvonne had been with the wrong crowd for some time, but claimed he hadn't seen her in a while. Next, Montoya spoke to another woman who showed her a picture of Basil with Yvonne. Realizing Basil had lied about not seeing Yvonne recently, Montoya went to her home. As she was about to enter, she heard a scream. Breaking in, she found Basil on the ground with a knife in his back. The attacker quickly tried to escape, but Batman was nearby and gave chase. Despite Batman's efforts, the attacker managed to flee. Meanwhile, Yvonne woke up in an unknown place, her hands cuffed. Suddenly, a bright light shone on her. Harvey approached Montoya, suggesting that making an arrest would benefit both of them and his campaign. Montoya angrily responded that she didn't care about his campaign. In another development, Basil's attacker struck again, this time killing a movie agent, Lou Valentine, with an electric shock. Batman and Alfred continued their investigation, while Montoya did the same. She spoke to people connected to Basil and Yvonne, discovering that Basil had missed many movie roles due to his appearance. She also found out a makeup artist called Elman had deceived Basil and took money from him, saying that he will make him look better. This caused a problem between the two, and Elman was fired because of that. Later, a director was working when the attacker appeared again. Batman arrived in time to fight the attacker, but during the struggle, the tower collapsed, trapping Batman under the debris. The attacker escaped once more. Below the debris, Batman found two bodies, Lou Valentine and the movie star Daryl Manning. Montoya went to talk to Elman, while Batman examined Basil's corpse. During his examination, Batman discovered that the face was actually a mask. As Montoya spoke with Elman, he suddenly attacked her. She retaliated, punching him in the face, which became disfigured. Elman then knocked her out. When Montoya regained consciousness, she saw the attacker, who revealed himself to be Basil. He began explaining what had happened to him. Elman injected him with a serum which transformed him into a handsome man. He then went to Yvonne to show her that things would be different, that he could finally be the star she had seen in him. However, Yvonne rejected him, and his face melted. Basil said he used Elman's serum on him before killing him, revealing that the Basil found with a knife in his back was actually Jack Elman. Basil admitted that his initial motivation was revenge, but he had grown to enjoy murder. He then revealed that Yvonne was tied up nearby. Suddenly, Batman descended from the roof, and a fight ensued. Montoya managed to untie herself and free Yvonne. Batman knocked Basil out. Montoya approached to arrest Batman, but he escaped. She found a button on the ground that was also a microphone and told him they were not done, knowing he was listening. Bruce is in Gotham's museum talking with a woman named Selina Kyle. She complimented a pearl, and Bruce joked that he should be worried because things around her tend to disappear. She laughed it off, dismissing the rumors of her stealing. Bruce overheard people mocking his mother and reacted by punching them. As a consequence, Bruce was required to attend therapy sessions a couple of days a week to avoid jail time. During the session, the therapist asked about his parents, who were murdered when he was a child. Selina was woken up by Greta, who reminded her about the overdue bills, which Selina ignored. Greta also asked her not to bring in stray cats, since they were struggling financially. Selina then created a costume, marking the rise of Catwoman, and a series of burglaries began occurring. One day, Catwoman faced Batman. He caught her, and detectives arrived to arrest her. They unmasked her and took her into custody. During another therapy session, Bruce had a flashback to his childhood, sitting sadly in a car. The therapist brought him back to the present by calling his name and asked why he was often seen with different women and why he hadn't coped with his parents' death. In court, Selina was not prosecuted because Harvey revealed that there wasn't enough evidence to incriminate her, and it could have been Batman since he was also present at the scene. In his house, Bruce saw the news report of Selina being freed. Later that night, Selina put on her costume to steal again. She encountered Batman, who chased her. During the chase, she fell from a building, and Batman saved her. As he was bringing her down, she kissed him. When they landed, she attacked him and ran away. Detectives went to Selina's house, but she had already moved out to a lower quality apartment. Meanwhile, Batman was obsessing over catching Catwoman. Alfred tried to calm him down, pointing out that she was a jewel thief, not a villain. Catwoman heard on the news that the Gotham Museum was going to close, giving people only 3 days to visit. Bruce attended his last court-ordered therapy session. The doctor asked if he would continue therapy voluntarily, but he refused. Photos of Batman attacking police officers surfaced, causing outrage among the authorities and the people of Gotham. The police held a meeting to discuss how to capture Batman. Montoya suggested trapping him by setting up a series of false crimes. Batman discovered the plan and became more cautious. Montoya proposed one ultimate attempt to trap Batman. That night, they set up a blockade and waited for him. Batman, however, increased his speed and crashed through the blockade, escaping. Batman went to the police station and was examining their investigation board when Detective Gordon found him. Gordon chased him, but Batman escaped. Gordon reported the incident to Montoya, mentioning that the mayor was threatening their jobs and they needed a new plan. The next morning, Montoya brought in Dr. Quinzel, Bruce's therapist, to help them understand Batman. She provided insights into what might interest him based on his actions. Detective Bullock and Flass decided to use a prisoner as bait to draw out Batman. Barbara saw them taking the prisoner and asked what they were doing. They lied, saying they were taking him for a psych examination. Barbara went inside and informed her father, Gordon, about this. Meanwhile, Bullock and Flass's car stopped, and when they got out to check, the prisoner escaped. Flass slashed the tire and Bullock hit him. They then agreed on a story. The tire went flat, Bullock got out to look at it, and somehow, Firebug overpowered Flass and escaped. They hoped that the chaos created by a costumed criminal like Firebug would draw out Batman. Firebug did as expected, starting fires around the city. Batman arrived at the scene, and the cops prepared to catch both him and Firebug. Batman found Firebug, but Firebug attacked him with a flamethrower, leading to a fight. Gordon discovered that Bullock and Flass had taken other officers with them. He and Montoya entered a burning building. Meanwhile, Bullock and Flass found Firebug. Flass decided to shoot Firebug to prevent him from talking about his escape. Firebug fell from the building, and a journalist saw Bullock holding the gun. Gordon came face to face with Batman, who was saving children from the fire. Seeing Batman's actions, Gordon decided to let him go. Later, Gordon confronted Bullock and Flass about their actions. However, the mayor saw a newspaper report showing Bullock killing Firebug and decided to make Bullock the leader of the task force. Despite this, Gordon's good performance ensured he would not lose his job. Batman was confronting a criminal when he saw a man standing on the train tracks and quickly saved him. Later, Batman and Alfred investigated Fletcher Deming, a real estate baron. Batman recalled seeing Deming at a party recently where he seemed fine. Now Deming was in Arkham Asylum, despite his wealth. Alfred noted that Deming had donated his entire fortune to charity, surprising them both as Deming had always seemed selfish. A man was being tortured and finally broke, agreeing to give everything away. He promised on his life, but his tormentor didn't believe him, leading the man to scream in desperation. Officers led by Flass and Bullock attempted to arrest Batman, but he managed to take them down one by one and escaped. Dr. Quinzel had a session with a man, but afterward, she didn't let him go. She handcuffed him, revealing that she tortures patients who don't change. Alfred and Batman discovered a pattern of greedy men giving up everything and disappearing. Batman realized the common link was their therapist. Barbara visited Deming to represent him. During their conversation, the door suddenly opened and Deming ran away. She chased him and caught him just before he jumped. He screamed that he needed to see a woman, but before he could name her, nurses sedated him. Barbara asked Quinzel if she knew Deming, as he seemed to recognize her name. Quinzel denied knowing him personally. Later, Barbara went to Quinzel's office and found it completely trashed. She saw Batman running away. She found Quinzel's notebook and discovered that Deming was her patient. Realizing Quinzel had lied, she then visited another patient, but he accused her of invading his privacy and told her to leave. Barbara decided to break into the house, and Batman arrived. Both believed that Quinzel was brainwashing her patients. Batman told Barbara to go back to the city while he entered the house. Quinzel was having dinner with Montoya when she received an urgent call and abruptly left for home. Batman was examining the patients, who were dressed as clowns and other costumes. When Quinzel, also dressed as a clown, arrived and released them, she ordered them to attack Batman. He managed to fight back, but was eventually locked in a glass container. Quinzel gassed him and left the room with the patients. After she left, Barbara arrived and found Batman unconscious. She tried to break the container, but couldn't. As Quinzel was leaving, she saw Barbara's car and turned back. She found Barbara trying to break the container and warned her they must leave because the house was about to explode. Barbara refused to leave without Batman. Quinzel attempted to open the glass, but it was damaged. Suddenly, the house began to collapse, and the glass container with Batman fell. Barbara and Quinzel tried to escape, but fell into a lake. Batman saved Barbara, but Quinzel was lost. Later, Montoya waited for Quinzel, who never showed up. Montoya then received a call from Quinzel, informing her that she was leaving town. Two officers were driving in a van, chatting, when they suddenly saw a ghostly man on a horse. The man rode straight at them, causing their van to crash. The female officer crawled out of the wreckage. The man approached her and tried to help, but she backed away. Without attacking, he left. The scene shifts to Bruce talking to Lucius about his finances while reading a newspaper. Lucius mentioned the ghost robberies happening around town. Bruce was skeptical, questioning why a ghost would need money. Alfred revealed that he believes in ghosts. Harvey read the newspaper and found he was losing votes because his opponent was buying them. In his car, Mr. Thorne offered help, noting Harvey's slipping poll numbers. Thorne advised that to save the city, Harvey needed to win, implying compromise was necessary. Thorne hinted at Harvey's past compromises and left the offer open. Batman and Alfred discussed the odd robbery of a truck carrying charity collections, despite other trucks with more money being in the city. Batman realized he should focus on who was being targeted, not just what was stolen. Harvey was on a train, campaigning for votes, when the ghostly horseman appeared and started robbing the passengers. Harvey offered money to spare the civilians, but the ghost refused. As the ghostly man escaped, Batman arrived in his car and pursued him, but the man rode the horse right into a wall. Back at home, Batman still refused to believe the man was a ghost. He examined the remnants of the ghost's clothes through a microscope, noting that the ghost only targeted the underprivileged and seemed obsessed with the 18th century. He managed to sketch some sort of symbol based on his findings. Lucius went to buy Heritage Hill. On the door was the logo Batman had sketched. Bruce visited a library and was recognized by an old librarian, Wilma. Bruce asked for help with a coat of arms, and Wilma identified it as the Craddock coat of arms. She explained that the Craddocks were one of Gotham's founding families, but their name was removed from histories due to James Craddock's actions during the Revolution. James, also known as Gentleman Jim Craddock, squandered his family's fortune and turned to highway robbery, stealing from the poor to enrich himself. He was eventually caught and hanged at the Old Town Gallows. As Lucius was finalizing the sale, the ghost emerged. Batman arrived and fought the ghost, but his hands froze when he tried to punch it. Back home, Alfred helped him melt the ice. Batman sought help from Linton Midnight, who explained that ghosts often repeat their actions from life. To banish the ghost, Batman needed the original deed to Heritage Hill to burn it and sever Craddock's claim, and the blood of a nobleman, as old ghosts and magic required it. Midnight warned the magic would fight back and made Batman promise to return to him when he is done giving him a small container. Bruce, in the car, didn't know where to find a nobleman for the ritual. Alfred revealed that he himself was a nobleman, and they decided to use his blood. Bruce, in his Batman costume, started the ritual. As he was about to burn the deed, the ghost attacked. During the fight, Alfred used a lighter to burn the deed, causing the ghost to catch fire. The smoke from the burning deed moved towards Batman, but Alfred stepped in the way, inhaling the smoke and becoming possessed. The ghost, now in Alfred's body, attacked Batman. Batman saw a remaining piece of the deed, used his costume's fire to burn it, and forced the ghost out of Alfred. Batman then trapped the smoke in a container and handed it to Midnight, who was standing nearby. Meanwhile, Harvey, desperate because he was losing votes, decided to call Thorne for help. Barbara was talking to a client who thanked her for helping him gain freedom. Her father, Gordon, approached, mentioning another criminal being freed, which Barbara defended. Suddenly, a man tried to shoot Gordon, but Montoya and another officer saved him. Later, they discussed their next steps. Bullock suggested a police task force, but Gordon wanted to avoid chaos. Barbara and Montoya both suggested a safe house, but Gordon refused. While Barbara was in her office, Batman arrived and informed her that the hit order came from Blackgate Prison with an open offer for payment, meaning Gordon was still a target. Batman went to the prison, attacked the guards, and confronted a man who revealed that a man named Muller had doubled the price, attracting professional hitmen. Batman then confronted Muller, who attacked him. Batman retaliated and demanded to know his reasons. When Gordon arrived home, Barbara, Montoya, and 2 other cops were waiting. They finally convinced him to go to a safe house. As they were driving, a police car followed them, which they initially mistook for backup. Suddenly, the men in the car started firing at them. A gunfight ensued, and the attacker's car eventually crashed off a bridge. Marcus, one of the cops, was shot, so they decided to take him to the hospital, but their car broke down. They hid the car and continued on foot. The remaining attackers found a trail of blood leading to the abandoned car. Meanwhile, Barbara and the others reached the safe house. Marcus had lost a lot of blood, but they couldn't call for backup because they didn't know whom to trust. The hitmen located them and started shooting at the house. Another gunfight broke out. Batman arrived and attacked the hitmen, but some managed to get inside. Barbara fought them off. Outside, Batman fought the leader and finally defeated him. Gordon and the others came to thank Batman, but he revealed that Gordon was never the target. Inside the house, one of the cops pointed his gun at Barbara, revealing she was the real target. As he was about to shoot her, Gordon shot him in the hand. Barbara later confronted Mueller, the man who ordered the hit and her former client. He blamed her for his imprisonment, despite her securing him the best deal possible. She told him he deserved to be there and left. 2 boys sneaked out at night and went to a carnival. An older girl tempted them to get closer, and 1 boy followed her to a dark house. Bruce attended the carnival with a woman named Julie. Journalists tried to get photos and interviews. He greeted Dr. Tompkins, and they were joined by Harvey. They watched a man named Anton presenting. He invited volunteers to lift weights, but no one could. He called a girl, Natalia, who had taken one of the boys. She initially couldn't lift it, but did after entering a machine. After the show, the other boy approached Natalia, asking about his friend. She offered to show him, and led him to a trailer where he found his friend on the ground. Natalia then strangled him, emitting a smoke-like substance from her mouth. Anton arrived and stopped her, saying she couldn't keep doing this, but she insisted it was the last time. Outside, Dr. Tompkins, one of the children, informed Bruce, who promised to look for her. Harvey confronted Thorne about his presence, as they had agreed to keep a low profile. Thorne suggested he could make a donation and mix it with the money being raised. Bruce searched for Stevie, Tompkins' daughter, in a room of mirrors. He saw her with Natalia and heard her scream. Breaking a mirror, he ended up outside, where he was attacked and thrown into the dirt. He got up, went to his car, and changed into his Batman costume. Meanwhile, Natalia was attacking Stevie when Anton arrived. They argued, and Natalia threw him into a cabinet, which fell on him. Throne is in the car with Harvey. He then gave him money, and as he was about to leave, he told him to drop a case of Milligan charges. Harvey refused said, but Throne said, "There is a price for everything." Batman reached Anton's trailer. He saw the kids on the ground, and Anton told him that they would recover in time, and he told him it was Natalia. He told him Natalia gains strength by draining others. Then Anton dies. Outside, Natalia approached a girl who warned her about a kidnapper. Natalia asked the girl to go back to the carnival with her, but the girl refused. Natalia then picked her up and started draining her energy, but the girl hit her and managed to escape. In anger, Natalia hit a tree, causing it to collapse. Batman heard the sound. The girl ran into a cave and hid. Natalia found her and started draining her again. Batman arrived and pushed Natalia away. Natalia pretended to cry, but it was a ruse, and they began fighting. During the fight, she started draining Batman, but the girl hit her with a slingshot. As Natalia turned to attack, Batman told her that her brother Anton had died. Distraught, Natalia collapsed and started crying. As they talked, the sun rose, causing her to start burning. Batman picked her up, covered her, and took her away. At the hospital, the girl recounted how she saved Batman. Bruce arrived and asked about Natalia. Dr. Tompkins informed him that doctors were studying her case. In court, Harvey did the opposite of what Thorne asked and requested that Milligan's bail be denied. The judge agreed and denied the bail. In the bathroom, one of Thorne's men attacked Harvey, throwing acid on his face for double-crossing them. Harvey won the election, but as he delivered his speech, people started whispering about his face. He then woke up from the nightmare, gasping. His face was bandaged, and it turned out he had resigned from the election after the acid attack. Gordon was trying to figure out what happened to Harvey. Harvey couldn't remember anything from the attack, leaving them with no leads. Gordon stressed the importance of finding something. Bruce visited Harvey and offered to take him out. Harvey was reluctant, but eventually agreed. They went to a restaurant for dinner. Harvey was nervous, thinking everyone was staring at him. Though people were friendly, he believed they were pretending. Bruce asked if he remembered his attacker, but Harvey was distracted by his paranoia, hearing whispers about him. When the waitress approached to ask if they needed anything, Harvey stood up and started screaming at everyone. He removed his bandages, revealing his scars, and pulled the waitress, yelling at her. Bruce tried to intervene, and Harvey attempted to punch him, but Bruce stopped him. Back at home, Batman suspected Harvey was hiding something. Alfred advised that Bruce might have pushed Harvey too soon, considering his fragile state. Harvey walked alone in the rain and saw a thief attacking someone. He asked the victim what to do about the thief, suggesting a coin flip. When the victim refused to gamble with a man's life, Harvey shot the thief in the knees and left. Cops arrived, and the thief described Harvey. Montoya went to Harvey's house, but found it empty. Harvey went to a bar, asking about Tony Zito, the man who threw the acid. When a man refused to help, Harvey attacked him. The man eventually revealed that Tony was with a woman named Megan. As Harvey was about to leave, he heard the man call him a freak and angrily beat him. Jerry, one of Thorne's men, informed Thorne about Harvey's actions, but Thorne dismissed it, saying Harvey couldn't do anything. Harvey found Megan, who refused to let him in. He broke down the door and forced her to reveal Tony's safe house. Batman visited the hospital where Harvey's victim was and asked what Harvey wanted. Harvey located Tony and attacked him, revealing his scarred face. Batman went to Megan and coerced her into revealing Tony's location. Harvey tied Tony to a chair and set him on fire. As he was about to leave, Batman arrived and jumped on Harvey's car. Harvey crashed the car, throwing Batman off, and escaped. Jerry called Thorne to inform him about the incident, suspecting Harvey would come after him next. A car crashed into Thorne's house, initially thought to be Harvey, but containing Thorne's dead men. The lights went out, and Harvey started shooting, killing the men one by one. Harvey confronted Thorne and was about to shoot him when Thorne's son intervened. Batman arrived, fought Harvey, and Thorne escaped. Harvey broke down, admitting he needed to be locked up. In jail, Barbara showed up as his lawyer. Harvey refused her help, but she flipped a coin and won, becoming his lawyer. Harvey was sent to an asylum, where Barbara visited him. She assured him he wouldn't be there long, and had plans to get him into a private hospital. Harvey felt he deserved to be punished for killing people. Barbara argued he might get leniency if he exposed corruption at City Hall. He then screamed at her, but quickly Harvey apologized for his outburst. Barbara reassured him, Understanding his struggle, Batman visited Barbara to discuss Harvey's case. She mentioned slow progress and Harvey's apparent breakdown. Batman reminded her that Harvey, despite his flaws, cared about justice and encouraged her to reach that part of him. Barbara expressed hope to get through to him despite his struggles. She suggested having a way to contact Batman directly, and he provided her with a phone number. Bruce visited Harvey, who sarcastically suggested Eve encouraged him to help himself, reminding him that Harvey Dent doesn't give up. Harvey, disillusioned, replied that it was just a campaign slogan. Harvey was being transported to his hearing when he was attacked and kidnapped. Barbara followed the kidnappers, who turned out to be Bullock and Flass. Harvey recognized them and sarcastically greeted Flass, assuming it was a breakout. Flass revealed it was an execution, not an escape. Harvey expressed disappointment, noting he thought they were friends despite their corruption. Flass dismissed this, blaming Harvey for messing up and comparing him to them. As they directed Harvey to hand him over to Thorne's men, Harvey noted that Flass seemed to be in charge, not Bullock. He taunted Bullock, suggesting Flass manipulated him into doing the dirty work. Flass, enraged, told Harvey to shut up, but Harvey attacked Bullock, causing the car to crash. Barbara arrived and urged Harvey to go to her father, but he insisted on doing things his way. She cuffed herself to him, forcing him to come with her. Barbara called Gordon for help from a phone booth and then contacted Batman. Thorne's men saw them passing by and later met up with Flass and Bullock, who recognized Barbara's car and decided to kill her. Barbara and Harvey met with Batman, Montoya, and Gordon. Harvey cynically questioned the plan, doubting it would change anything. Batman and Gordon insisted he needed to testify against Thorne to push back against corruption. Gordon vowed to get Harvey in front of a judge, even if it cost him his job. Suddenly, they were attacked. Batman told the others to leave while he handled the attackers. Meanwhile, Harvey tried to convince Barbara to let him go, arguing that Thorne was only after him. As they talked, another man attacked, and Harvey beat him. Batman fought two men, and as one was about to shoot, Gordon arrived and shot him. They informed Gordon that Barbara and Harvey had split up, so he went to look for them. Barbara continued with Harvey, fending off attackers. Harvey, weakened, decided to head to her car. Bullock spotted them and was about to shoot, but Gordon stopped him. Flass arrived and aimed at Barbara, but Harvey took the shot. Batman confronted Flass, choosing not to shoot him but punching him in anger. Barbara held Harvey as he died in her arms. Gordon told Batman he had to leave before the cops arrived. Devastated by Harvey's death, Batman was inconsolable at home despite Alfred's attempts to comfort him. He then got into his car and left. Batman went to Thorne's house to confront him and threw a blade, nearly missing him. The scene shifts to a man hysterically laughing while another man with a syringe watches him. Thank you so much for watching the whole video. Please be sure to check out these other videos and make sure to subscribe and tap the bell to be notified about our latest videos. See you soon.